Have you ever been staring directly at someone you've known for years? Maybe even your own boss or a close neighbor. And suddenly, their name vanishes as if it were erased by a ghost. You smile, your heart pounds, and you feel that cold shiver of social anxiety creeping up your neck. Most people will tell you it's just a brain fart or a sign of getting older. But they are dead wrong. According to the profound insights of Jung, your brain isn't failing you. It is actively conspiring against your ego. This isn't a memory problem. It's a psychological hit job orchestrated by your subconscious mind. What if I told you that forgetting a name is actually a sophisticated defense mechanism designed to protect you from a hidden shadow or a painful complex you didn't even know existed? Your mind is playing a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, locking away information to shield you from loud emotions or old psychological wounds. Today, we are going to dive deep into the human behavior and the hidden machinery of the brain to reveal the 5 secret reasons your memory goes silent. By the end of this journey, you'll not only stop the lost puppy from running away, but gain a level of awareness that 99% of people will never possess. Your journey into the subconscious starts now. Think of your mind as a vast, ancient library where the subconscious is the librarian who knows every secret. Sometimes, this librarian intentionally misplaces a file, a name, right when you need it most. Playing a clever game of hide-and-seek. This isn't a glitch in your brain. It is a sophisticated defense mechanism designed to shield your ego from a hidden feeling. When you're at the workplace and a boss's name vanishes into thin air, your memory isn't failing you. It is likely that a seed of anxiety or a complex of nerves has triggered a mental block, prompting your mind to hide the data for your own protection. Imagine standing in a high-stakes meeting, feeling the weight of expectation, and suddenly, the person you've known for years becomes a stranger. In the realm of psychology, this is often a physical manifestation of a mental block where your subconscious mind prioritizes emotional safety over social grace. Your brain acts like a protective friend who keeps a secret to prevent you from feeling overwhelmed by social anxiety or the pressure to perform. This human behavior is a fascinating look at how our internal world prioritizes survival, even social survival, over simple data retrieval. It turns a routine interaction into a profound moment of internal awareness. To master this, one must first recognize that forgetting isn't a sign of low intelligence, but a signal of high internal activity. When you feel that familiar blank sensation, try a quick self-improvement technique. Acknowledge the nervous feeling without judging it, perhaps by labeling it as temporary excitement. This subtle shift in focus takes the power away from the anxiety and signals to your subconscious that it is safe to release the name. You might even find that your relationships improve when you stop viewing these lapses as failures and start seeing them as breadcrumbs leading to your deeper self. By understanding this complex, you start to regain control over your own mental narrative. The beauty of this psychological dance is that it reveals the incredible depth of our focus and how easily it can be hijacked by the unseen. If you find yourself frequently hitting these mental walls, consider keeping a reflection journal to track who you forget and what you felt in that moment. This practice enhances your awareness and helps you identify which parts of your workplace or social life are causing these silent skirmishes in your mind. It is the first step in a much longer journey toward total individuation and clarity. But what happens when the name isn't just hidden by nerves, but is actually being blocked by the ghost of someone else? The mind is a master of patterns, constantly weaving the present into the tapestry of the past. Sometimes you meet someone new, a fresh face at a social gathering or a new colleague, and your memory suddenly hits a brick wall. This happens because your subconscious mind has spotted a twin, an archetype of someone from your history that you didn't particularly like. This is the brain's twin trick, where it identifies a similar tone of voice, a look, or even a mannerism, and decides to block the new name. It is a psychological defense, a way for the subconscious to close the door on an old story so you don't have to relive those grumpy feelings. In the world of Jung, this is a classic example of a complex being triggered by an external stimulus. Your brain isn't being faulty, it is being overly cautious, confusing the new person with an old shadow. Think of a time you met a mark who looked just like a bully from your childhood, and suddenly, you can't remember this new mark's name to save your life. Your brain is trying to protect your inner peace by refusing to let this new version of an old threat take up space in your mind. This human behavior is a fascinating look at how our past relationships dictate our current social anxiety and mental blocks. To break this cycle, you must practice a higher level of awareness by separating the person in front of you from the ghost they represent when you feel a name being blocked. Ask yourself, who does this person remind me of? This simple act of self-improvement helps the brain realize that the twin is an illusion, allowing the mental block to dissolve. You can even try a grounding technique, like noticing 3 unique things about the person: their specific tie, their unique laugh, or the way they hold their coffee. By highlighting their individuality, you signal to your subconscious mind that it is safe to open the door to this new connection. This twin trick is a profound reminder that we rarely see the world as it is, but rather as we are, filtered through our subconscious experiences. When you stop fighting the memory and start observing the pattern, you gain a massive advantage in your personal and professional relationships. It turns a moment of embarrassment into a masterclass in psychology and self-mastery. Shifting your focus from the forgotten to the discovered, you begin to see that every name lost is actually an opportunity to heal an old wound. But sometimes, the silence isn't caused by a ghost from the past, but by the sheer volume of the present moment. There are moments when the external world becomes a blur because your internal landscape is roaring like a stormy sea. At a bustling party or an elegant dinner, your heart might begin to beat with a frantic rhythm, whether from the spark of excitement or the weight of being shy. In these high-pressure moments, Carl Jung observed that our memory often goes quiet because the psyche is overwhelmed by the sheer volume of emotion. Your brain is a finite resource, and when it is busy listening to the loud, thumping heart of your feelings, it simply forgets to hold onto a name. The subconscious mind prioritizes the raw energy of your current state over the dry data of a social label. This is a profound insight into human behavior. Your focus is a spotlight, and when your emotions are loud, that light is directed inward, leaving the name of your guest in the shadows. It is as if your brain is so occupied managing your social anxiety or your joy that it lacks the bandwidth to process the external world. You might find yourself staring at a long-time acquaintance, feeling the warmth of the room, yet their name has vanished into the mist of your own heartbeat. This isn't a sign of a failing brain. It's a sign of a deeply feeling soul whose subconscious is momentarily locked on the internal experience. To navigate these emotional floods, you must learn the art of psychological anchoring to bring your memory back online when you feel your heart talking too loud. Try a physical grounding exercise. Press your thumb and forefinger together and take one deep, conscious breath. This simple action redirects some of your energy away from the loud heart and back into your physical awareness, signaling to the subconscious that the danger of the emotion has passed. You could also try the name repetition technique used by many successful leaders. As soon as you hear a name, say it back once. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Julian." To anchor the word before the heart takes over, understanding that your memory and your emotions are inextricably linked is a vital step in your journey of self-improvement. By acknowledging that your big emotions are simply a part of your complex makeup, you can start to approach social situations with more grace and less fear. Instead of panicking when a name slips away, you can smile, knowing that your heart is merely having a very loud conversation with your mind. It's a beautiful, albeit frustrating, dance of the psyche that proves how deeply we are connected to our feelings. But what if the name isn't lost in the noise of a party, but is tucked away inside a locked box for safekeeping? Think of names as precious toys that belong in a specific decorated box within your mind. Sometimes, when you are in the comfort of your home or surrounded by family, a name you should know by heart suddenly becomes inaccessible. This happens because that person's name is tied to a heavy or sad feeling that your subconscious mind is currently avoiding. Your brain decides to lock that toy box for a moment, acting as a gentle guardian to ensure you don't have to process complex or difficult emotions right then. It is your mind's way of taking a tiny psychological break from things that feel just a bit too heavy to carry. In the eyes of Carl Jung, this is a beautiful example of how the subconscious mind manages our energy and protects our equilibrium. If a name is associated with a past conflict or a period of grief, your brain might create a temporary mental block to keep that toy out of reach. It's not that your memory is failing, it's that your psyche is prioritizing your current peace over the retrieval of a potentially painful word. You might be discussing a family tree or an old workplace, and suddenly, A specific name feels locked behind a door you can't quite open. This human behavior shows just how much our inner child influences our daily interactions. To unlock the box without force, you must practice the art of emotional labeling, a powerful tool for self-improvement and awareness. Instead of getting frustrated, quietly acknowledge the heaviness you feel and tell yourself, it is okay to feel this way right now. By validating the emotion, you often find the subconscious mind relaxes its grip on the lock, allowing the name to slide back into your focus. A practical example would be to shift the conversation to a lighter, more joyful memory of the same time period. This often acts as a skeleton key for the mind. This approach fosters better relationships with yourself and others by honoring your internal boundaries. By understanding the locked toy box, you gain a deeper respect for the subtle ways your mind manages your psychological health. It turns a moment of forgetting into a moment of profound connection with your inner self, highlighting the complex relationship between memory and mood. You start to see that your brain isn't working against you, but is actually working for you, maintaining a safe space for your ego to breathe. This internal harmony is essential for long-term mental clarity and focusing your energy where it truly matters. But if you find yourself desperately hunting for the name, you might find that the lost puppy of the mind only returns when you stop the chase. The more you hunt for a missing name, the more it seems to run away from you. If you are chatting with a neighbor and their name suddenly vanishes into thin air, your instinct is to chase it with force. But in the world of psychology, this desperate hunting only tightens the mental block, signaling to your subconscious that you are in a state of distress. Carl Jung suggested that the subconscious mind is much like a lost puppy. If you run after it, it will keep fleeing out of fear. However, if you simply stop the chase and remain still, it will eventually trot back to you all by itself. This human behavior is a perfect illustration of how our focus and anxiety are inversely related when it comes to memory retrieval. When you stop obsessing over the lost data, you lower your brain's internal alarm system, allowing the subconscious to release the name back into your awareness. It is a counterintuitive shift that requires a great deal of self-improvement and trust in your own mind. By choosing to relax, you are telling your brain that the social situation is safe, and the puppy feels invited to return home. It is the ultimate test of staying calm under the pressure of a social complex. If you want a practical way to apply this, try the gentle redirection technique next time a name slips your mind. Instead of panicking, shift the conversation to a completely different topic. Perhaps talk about a great book you've read, like Man and His Symbols, or share a funny story about your day. By moving your focus away from the hole in your memory, you create the psychological space necessary for the name to resurface naturally. You can even say to your friend, "I'm having a bit of a brain gap. It'll come back to me in a minute," and then simply let it go. Mastering the lost puppy secret transforms your relationships and your workplace interactions. Because you no longer project a sense of frantic anxiety, you become a person who is comfortable with the mysteries of their own mind, which is a rare and attractive quality in human behavior. It teaches you that some things cannot be forced. They must be allowed to happen in their own time. This sense of peace and internal awareness is the final piece of the puzzle in understanding why we forget. But before you can truly master your memory, you must understand the dark reason your brain wanted to forget in the first place. Now that we have explored the labyrinth of the subconscious mind, it is time to ask yourself, what is your brain trying to tell you? The next time a name vanishes, do not succumb to the social anxiety of the moment. Instead, lean into the awareness of what your shadow might be hiding. Are you ready to stop being a spectator to your own mental blocks and start becoming the master of your complexes? This journey of self-improvement begins the moment you decide to listen to the silence of your memory rather than fearing it. I challenge you to look closely at your relationships and your workplace interactions this week. Which names are slipping away, and what heavy feelings are they tied to? Share your experiences in the comments below. Have you ever felt your subconscious protect you by locking the toy box? Let's start a dialogue about the mysteries of human behavior that most people are too afraid to face. If you are ready to continue descending into the profound depths of psychology and the teachings of Carl Jung, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Do not let your focus drift. The path to the self is only found by those who dare to look behind the curtain of the mind.